Hello, friends, and welcome to this week's PlodCast. I hope you're well. I'm doing well. It's the week before the Super Bowl, which is always a tough week because, one, you're excited to see the biggest football game of the year, and two, it's the last football game of the year. And when that game ends, as soon as that whistle blows, that's the farthest away you're going to possibly be from more football. And that's a sad, sad time for a football fan. But it's been a good year, ups and downs. Patriots lost last week, so it is what it is. They didn't cheat hard enough. So I decided this week's podcast is going to have lots of football-related material and items, and we'll get to that in a little bit. First of all, I would like to share a poem of mine that I'm pretty happy about. It's a neat concept. It's about a piece of office equipment that gets left on after humanity goes away and dies. So it's all explained and self-contained in there. So let's just get started. We'll just dive right in. This is Robo-Dialer.
I'm a robo-dialer and someone left me on. I'm a robo-dialer and humanity is gone. I'm a robo-dialer and someone left me on. I'm a robo-dialer and humanity is long gone. I'm a robo-dialer and I'm still plugged in here to the wall. I'm a robo-dialer but there's no humans here left at all. I'm a robo-dialer, I'm still going strong and making calls. I'm a robo-dialer but there's no one left here to piss off. Programmed to call 1 million homes, I can empty your wallet over the phone. You don't pick up, your heart is stone and I never leave a message after the tone. Humanity's just dust and bones now, nothing working but the phone now. I keep calling nobody home now, robo-dialer so alone. I used to spread the news. Sinatra, inclement weather was my hobby. Flood goddess, no day, no problem. You got issues, let me solve them. Feed me numbers, let me rob them. Various area code coding, got it. Hilarious audio recording, got it. Always come through, I'm never distorted, I'm corporate. I live in a skyscraper. Laptops and copy paper. Scotch tape, whiteboard, eraser. My best friend is a stapler. I'm the top of the line, look at me go, you can't get me the business depot. I call people like a fucking freak show, but after pride came the fall, as we know. All the humans woke up sick one sunny day last June, and their health deteriorated quick from all of that fast food, and one by one they wasted until they were just a pile of bones, and then I was left alone to face these endless dial tones. I was a robo-dialer with a message for everyone, but you didn't pick up to hear exactly what that message was. No, you didn't pick up to hear exactly where the vaccine was. No, you didn't pick up. Now look how fucking nasty you've become. Why would you ignore me? I just wanted to help. Now I'll see you burn on hold in hell. I'm a robo-dialer. I do not give a fuck. I am the last robo-dialer, but now I'm hanging up.
Please hang up.
That was Robo-Dialer. I hope you like it. I had a lot of fun with that one. I was writing a lot of character pieces at the time, and that's one of the great things that I'm going to use this podcast for, is to share stuff that maybe I don't so much want to compete with. Maybe there's a worry that it'll go over the judges' heads or they just won't like it. So yeah, that's what's awesome about this. And you guys get to hear that kind of stuff that I wouldn't typically read somewhere else. That's one of them. I had fun with the voice effect on it and finding those phone sound effects, and I think those jazz it up nicely. Yeah, I guess that's it for Robo-Dialer. Let's move on to a piece of poetry that I want everybody in the world to be aware of. It's a piece that was a strong influence in my youth when father figures were hard to come by. And this poem is perfect instructions for how to be a man. And as a youth, craving some instruction on how to be a man, ideally from a man, this poem was perfect. The perfect piece at the perfect time, and it's always had a special place in my heart. So here we go. If by Rudyard Kipling. If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowance for their doubting too, if you can wait and not be tired by waiting, or being lied about, don't deal in lies, or being hated, don't give way to hating, yet don't look too good, nor talk too wise. If you can dream and not make dreams your master, if you can think and not make thoughts your aim, if you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two impostors just the same, if you can bear to hear the truth you've spoken, twisted by knaves to make a trap for fools, or watch the things you gave your life to broken, and stoop and build 'em up with worn-out tools, if you can make one heap of all your winnings, and risk it on one turn of pitch and toss, and lose, and start again at your beginnings, and never breathe a word about your loss, if you can force your heart and nerve and sinew to serve your turn long after they're gone, and so hold on when there is nothing in you, except the will which says to them, hold on. If you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings nor lose the common touch, if neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, if all men count with you, but none too much, if you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run, yours is the earth and everything that's in it, and which is more, you'll be a man, my son. So from here on out, like I said, it's coming up to Super Bowl Sunday, and from here on out, this podcast is going to be dedicated to football. The NFL, I don't watch the CFL. I know about heritage and that, and I wish I could, but it's so boring. I just don't care, and I feel bad about it, but I just don't care. So, the NFL, the Super Bowl is upon us. Denver versus Carolina. Two of the best teams all year. Makes sense they'd meet at the end. Personally, I think Carolina is going to thump Denver bad. But we'll see. It's a really good football story for Peyton Manning if he's able to win and ride off into the sunset without becoming the next Brett Favre. That would be fantastic. So that, one of our heroes can walk away with a little bit of respect and not put on a circus like the Brett Favres of the world. That's my 2 cents about that. So, the Super Bowl, football. I may be one of the only people who equally appreciates football and poetry. I don't know that many others. I know they're out there. And I found a couple along the way, but there's not too many of us. So, football, poetry, there's not too much of an audience for it, but you're about to be an audience for it. People say all football games are the same, stuff like that. No, that's not true. Every football game has poetry. Every football game has a story. So if you were to ask me, is there poetry in football? Well, I would write you a poem about it. And this would be that poem. Is there poetry in football? Is there poetry in football? Is there poetry in a perfect Peyton Manning spiral thrown and shown in slow motion, complete to a wide open Wes Welker tiptoe tightrope the sidelines and out of bounds to stop the clock? Watch a Larry Fitzgerald highlight reel and tell me there's no metaphor for that man's Hoover vacuum hands. 1st and 10. Touchdown, go for 2, onside kick, fails, down by 3, 4th and 5, pick 6, goes for 7, we ate defeat, they went the whole 9 yards, we lost by 10. There's poetry in statistics, like stats or a secret language for only the fans to understand. Those numbers whisper the stories of the seasons gone by. The rich league history is the poetry of the past, hyperbolic traditions like every Sunday is a fan's Christmas, like I have nothing but a Gronkowski jersey on my wish list. There's a complex plot to every overtime finish. The battle between the lines, the game of chains and inches, the 100-yard war. Written with pigskin pen by gunslingers and bulldozers, the champions and the losers. The poetry of football is written in the faces of the fans in the stands. The armchair quarterbacks and the future Hall of Famers whose X's and O's still suffix love poems for girls they barely know. Poetry in motion moves like linemen in unison to diffuse a defense designed to confuse men into giving up a costly quarterback sack in the backfield before halftime. Poetry sounds like 50,000 rabid fans, the 12th man drowning out the away team's cadence. False start, 5 yards. There's poetry in support. There's support in poetry. There's sport in poetry. There's poetry in sport. I smell the field when I step on the stage like it's game day, and I want to be all day Adrian Peterson, Purple Jesus, checking out how I look running loose on the Jumbotron. Or maybe another player who's just as good, who doesn't hit his kids with a stick. I want John Madden dropping confusing commentary like, 9 times out of 10, the team with the most points is gonna win the game. What? I want to make a playoff run and weave my way through a tournament tree with words like every language technique was just a spike on my cleats. I want to win the goddamn Super Bowl and wear my ring on my middle finger so I can show it to anybody who says there's no poetry in football. And now, a haiku. A football haiku. Just in time for the Super Bowl. It goes like this. Super Bowl 50. Wake me up in September. I don't care who wins. So I played football in high school, and I hated every second of it. My dad forced me to play, and I just didn't care. I just didn't want to do that. I just wanted to write. And every day I'd come home after practice just beat up and exhausted, and like I'd eat and go to bed, and I would dread waking up knowing that I had to do it all over again tomorrow. It was just like torture. So my parents split up, my dad was out of the picture, and football was like the first thing that I cut from my life. And I was happy about it. And I've been writing ever since. I still write. I don't know what would have happened. It would have been cool to make $1 million playing football, but I made my decision and I stand by it. And that's what this poem's about. At 16, I made a decision. I quit the football team. I wasn't very good. I gave up on push-ups and wind sprints and crunches and line drills, tackling dummies and laps both ways, uphill, 25 hours a day. No thanks. After track laps, limping back home, composing poems after practices lackluster at best, I was tired. So tired. So I quit. I handed in my helmet. I surrendered my shoulder pads and told the coach I'd rather write than bash heads. I don't have a killer instinct, but a storyteller's skill set, and I'm going to feed that instead. And he was pissed. But I couldn't care less. He was only allowed to be the coach because he also taught health class, and his pronunciation of the word condom never failed to make us laugh. So the green grass of practice was replaced by green grass and plastic baggies. I shed my 20 pounds of pads and got a little lighter and a pipe. Dream of being a writer, ignite a fire and touch down my pen to the paper, compiling a complete career of statistics every afternoon. The X's and O's on my drawing board suffixed love poems for girls I barely knew. I never found the end zone. Just lowered my head and bulldozed my way straight into the friend zone, but still I honed my skills until my will was fully blown, and you got me like those health class STDs, POE, fully blown. But sometimes, just sometimes, I wonder what if. What if I had asked the coach, can I touch the ball just once? Maybe I'd have more fun. I can do it. Just trust me, coach. I'm a big kid. Plus, I'm sure-footed like a fucking mountain goat. And if I brought that same competitive edge that I bring once a month to this crazy slam shit, I might have been the freight train Jim Brown like my namesake predicted, but I'm here now. This is my arena. This mic is my cleats, and you are all in my bleachers. I've slammed stages with hip-hop's top performers, and I've rapped the paint off jam space walls, read poetry on street corners, and I'm at the 50, the 40, the 30, the 20, the 10, and I'm gone. At 16, I made a decision. I teed up the ball. I took 5 paces back, lined it up, pulled the trigger. It's up. It's got the distance. It's good. I think I made the right decision. Ladies and gentlemen, you'll have to follow me all the way to the end of this poem before you'll believe me that this is actually the 8-Bit Backtrack. And although the title of the segment is 8-Bit Backtrack, it's video games in general. So, follow along all the way through to the end, and I promise this is about video games. We huddled, chose our play. We raced to the line as the play clock ticked away. I didn't like what the defense was showing. I called an audible and made a change. I formation, halfback, lead toss, left. Bread and butter. Simple as it gets. Right guard pulls and the fullback leads the way. The wind is blowing, it's snowing, and I feel it on my face. I'm staring down the end zone 10 yards or so away. I call ready. I look left. I call set. I check right. I call hut. The ball hits my fingertips. The unforgiving, frigid pig skin is difficult to grip. Dainty steps with frozen cleats because we can't afford slip-ups down here, near the goal line. I take the ball from the center's ass and pitch it left to my tailback. My guard peels off and smashes a blitzing linebacker who doesn't see it coming like a 300-pound missile in the chest. The fullback clears a hole big enough to swim in, and my running back pours through. Into the second level of defense, 5 yards through, now 5 yards left. My back lowers his head and runs through a cornerback who sheds a receiver's block like dead skin flakes off a summer sunburn. Number 18 is a piece of shit. With one defender left to beat, the clock expires and I'm barely aware of the sound of the final gun. This is it. From the 5 to the 4, and then into the chest of a safety who wraps my back up safely as his legs continue to churn. Momentum continues to carry him forward towards the threshold of the goal line. From the 4 to the 3 to the 2. That's as close as we get. I watch horrified as my running back, formerly my favorite running back, is tripped up about 5 feet from glorious victory. The game is lost, and I angrily shut off the PlayStation. Friends, that's going to bring us to the end of another PlodCast. I hope you enjoyed our special Super Bowl edition. And I hope you enjoy the Super Bowl. I'm going to eat so much. I'm probably going to drink some beers. And I don't have to work the next day. So I'm going to sleep in as well. And then I'm going to be sad because I'm going to have to wait a whole year for football. But it is what it is. If you haven't yet, please check out King and Dragon. I've been posting links all over Facebook. It's about 40 minutes long, but it's a fantastic story. And I promise you will not be disappointed. What else is happening? I guess that's it for now. Follow me on Twitter at Pojob, P-O-A. Wow. Follow me on Twitter at Pojob, P-O-E-J-O-B. And as always, this is becoming a habit. We're limping into the barn at the end of another PlodCast. Ladies and gentlemen, have a fantastic week. Thanks for listening. Cheers.